Frontier leather. I know people will be coming in here late, but tonight I just got in the shop and it's cold. The fire went out while I was gone, and it's freaking cold in here. So my hands are cold. Trying to warm them up. I just got the fire back going, and I had this working man holster, which you can get in the link in the description of this video. The link directly to this holster, the one that's in the picture on the thumbnail, is in the description. But I had this holster dyed, and it's time to finish it up. Got it cut out, got it dyed and everything. We're just letting it dry, and we're gonna finish the edges. We're gonna finish the holster, finish the body of the holster up here, and then we're gonna stitch it up. And I've been enjoying bringing y'all along the ride, so you can see the process of making these things. So let's get going. So first things up, I'm going to do the edges. See, the edges are still raw, so we're going to bevel those edges, get them burnished, and get them coated. And then once that's dried and done, we will apply a finish to the surface. And then once that is dry, we will stitch it up and finish assembly on it. So this actually, believe it or not, won't take all that long. So first up, we're going to get these edges finished up. And if anybody has any questions during the process, I'll occasionally look up to answer any questions or greet people or what have you. But first things first is get these edges done. If there's anybody in here that, like I said, has questions about leather work, I've been doing it for about 12 years. I've learned quite a bit by making mistakes, right? A lot of people brag about their skills, but what they don't say is that you learn the best lessons by making mistakes. And I've learned most leather work by messing it up. So if you have questions, I'm happy to answer them. I'd like to see more people get into traditional crafts, especially in our modern society when everything is made to be disposable. I want to see people getting back to making things with their hands. Who all's in here? Anybody here from Modern Frontiersman? If so, say hello. Alright, we are going to... We got the edges beveled. I'm going to get them burnished up here. Guys, we're going to finish this entire holster in this live stream, so stick around if you want to see it done. I'll move this a little bit closer. It doesn't angle down much further, but try to make sure I hold it up where you can see. But yeah, who all's here from my other channel, from Modern Frontiersman? Bottom edge is slick. Move that back some. Kind of all up in my face. Guys, when you see this finished holster, if you want, once again, for everybody that's just coming in, the link to this holster is in the description if you'd like to go over there and check it out and grab you one. I'd love to make one for you. We're making the holster that is in the thumbnail of this video. This holster will fit just about any single action revolver. I haven't found one yet that won't fit it. So did kind of the same thing that Sears did back in the day with this holster. People were wanting a holster, sort of a universal-ish holster that would fit, any of their revolvers. And so that's what Sears did. They created some slightly oversized holsters so they would fit just about anything. And so I have the book, Holsters for Handguns, and look back, and some of the old historic holsters were like that. And so I did the same thing. I wanted to have a holster that was nice, that would fit most revolvers, and that wasn't over the top. So, people who were actually working and carrying carrying the weapon would be comfortable carrying this holster and working in it, scuffing it up, and not be worried about, messing up a fancily tooled holster. Something quick, simple, that'll just get the job done for, people that are actually out there doing things. Because that's why I started doing this stuff anyway, for people who are actually outdoors, actually using this type of stuff. Not just to hang on the wall and look pretty, but people who are actually hands-on out there. And Bella, I can't hardly see it. You know who I'm talking to. Hi. Let's see. All right, we got the edges done. Let's throw some edge coat on here. Phoebing's brown edge coat. And singe those little hairs so they don't make a mess. Hi there. Once again, everybody can head over to modernfrontiersman.com where you can get this exact holster, and I will make one for you live right here on this channel. Make sure to hit like and subscribe. Give me a boost in the algorithm. This channel is nowhere near the size of my other channel, Modern Frontiersman, but I would like for it to get there. Get these edges coated up nicely. And then we will let that dry a moment. So there we got the edge coat applied, some brown edge coat on it. Bailey High. I know it's hard to see some of this stuff in the camera, but there's the we got the edges all done. If you're new to leatherwork, don't mess around with edge coat. Like, be careful. Like, I can do it pretty fast because I've been doing it for over a decade, but be careful with edge coat because you will mess up your entire work, your entire piece, by making one single mistake with edge coat. We're going to set this to the side because we're not going to throw this dauber away, because once this is stitched up, and we will need to coat that outside edge as well. So I'm going to set that down for a second. Let it dry a minute. Give me a sip. Hoping the fire gets burning real good here soon because it's cold. How does it screw it up? Well, because edge coat is really thick, and it's like a thick dye. And if you get one little brush on, I mean, it'll stain it, and it ain't coming off. Like you can't get it off. So if you get over the edge on it, like onto the front, it's there. You ain't wiping it off. So we're just gonna wait just a couple minutes. It won't be like, you don't have to sit and let. Some people will let their edge coat dry for like hours before they'll mess with the piece again. It's not necessary. It starts to harden fairly fast, right? So I just let it dry for a few minutes and then get right back to work. Where's everybody located? If you can see from that border, which I did not put on these walls because I'm not into decorating with sports teams and stuff inside of a house, but as you can see, I'm in Alabama. About to take that junk down sometime soon. I'm actually redoing this room. I'm actually moving my workshop into a different area, and this is actually going to be my office. We got a gun rack on the wall there, and this shelf and a bunch of stuff has got to go out of here, and I'm moving my desk in here. So I'm gonna paint these white walls. Are gonna be like a forest green color up there, and then I'm putting some wood. I'm not going to try to tear that border down. I'm actually getting some like 2x6s, or like 1x6s, excuse me, 1x6s, and doing like trim, and I'm just going to put it over top of that ridiculous border. Kentucky, but I go to Lincoln, Alabama a lot. Oh, okay. Lincoln, yeah, not too terribly far from me. I'm more up in North Alabama. Some people get on my live streams and on my other channel and be like, "Oh, where exactly are you at in Alabama?" Well, I'm more open to say on this channel, not so much over on the other channel. Once again, y'all be sure to hit subscribe. If you're into preparedness and homesteading type of stuff, and tactical training, all those things about self-reliance and preparedness, you can subscribe to my other channel at Modern Frontiersman. And once again, for those just coming in, if you want some leather work, I combined the leather website with my other website, so it's all under modernfrontiersman.com. There's a link in this description to the holster we're making right now. I will make one for you live. And if you have a channel, I also have an affiliate program, and I'll send you leather work if you want to do videos on it, depending on what your channel's about and everything. So you'll earn commission, and I'll send you free leather work. You can sign up for it on the website. There is a place where you can sign up for the affiliate program. All right, so those edges are dry. Now we are going to, there's oil on that. Should be all right though. It's just neat's foot oil. Now we're going to put some Resolene to finish this piece. I hear the fire crackling. It's getting going now, thank goodness. Put some Resolene on here. Keep in mind that when you apply anything to leather, it's going to darken it. So you see the difference here. When you apply oil or you apply a finish, anything you do to that leather, it's going to darken it. So keep that in mind keep that in mind while you're dyeing. Don't get it too dark while you're dyeing. Because I've dyed stuff before dark brown, and then after applying oil and Resolene, then it looks black. So keep that in mind if you're wanting to do leather work. Uh, that it's going to darken with every step. So I usually prefer to make things a bit lighter. Like this was pretty light before I got to this point. I was actually trying to make this more of a medium brown, but it ended up more of a. It ended up more with some red, with the red tone. It's okay. It still looks nice. And one thing too is when it gets stretched and everything, it'll lighten back up some because of that stretching in the oils and the stuff kind of separating. But so like if you bend it, you'll see it'll be a little bit lighter. See, it's turned out really pretty. It's a really pretty color. Probably one more little coat since I was messing with it. Probably rub some of it off. Make sure it's nice and even. And then we'll let that dry for a moment. And then we'll be ready to stitch this sucker up. So anybody here right now who's actually does leather work, I see 3 people in here. I don't know who because I can't see that, but if you do leather work, let me know. What kind of leather work do you do? I make holsters if you're new here. I make holsters, rifle slings. Here's a very simple sling from water buffalo hide. I love these simple slings for shotguns and rifles for hunting. A lot of people want those really wide padded ones, but the problem I found with those is they're wide and they'll if they're so wide they're over your shoulder here, they'll slip off constantly. So I make mine just 1 inch so they really sit in your, so it sort of digs down a little bit and it more sits in your shoulder and doesn't slide off. A lot of people want those really big padded ones because they're more comfortable, but they slide off unless you back it with suede or something. That'll be a bit more grippy. But here's a finished holster here. This is for a 22 double Mexican loop. A cross draw holster for a Schofield revolver. The cross draw belt loop on the back. Here's like a pancake holster for I think this was for a Glock that I was working on, just for a pattern. I haven't finished stitching it and everything, but so a tooled 1911 holster basket weave. I don't do a whole lot of tooling. Basket weave is fairly simple, so I don't mind doing it, but I don't enjoy tooling. It's really hard on your hands and it takes forever. It's not fun to me. And I personally, like on my stuff, I don't like a whole lot of tooling. I like really, for the things that I'm going to use and carry, I like this, like just slim and sort of classy sort of look. It's simple and streamlined. I think when you do too much, it kind of trashes the item up and makes it look kind of cheap if it's got too much going on. Would the 1911 holster work for a staccato P? I don't know. I'd have to look into that. I've never made a holster for one of those. I mean, that holster right there is on the website right now. If you want to order it and try it, if it doesn't work, I'll give you your money back, of course, and you can send it back. But I really don't have an answer for you. Sorry, because I've never made a holster for one of those, so I don't know. But you're more than welcome to try it out. And like I said, if it doesn't work, refund and return it. And then I could actually, what you could even do is not even return it and get a refund, but If it doesn't work, just send it back to me, and you can send me a picture, and I can know if it's too big, too small. If I need to make an adjustment, I can just then I will have a pattern made for that pistol. So can basically then I would just custom make you one based on how it fit in the or didn't fit in the 1911 holster. That's how I actually make a lot of my patterns. So I'll take a pattern I already have, see if a gun fits in it or how well it fits in it, and then adjust that pattern from there for different guns. But I have found that most of the patterns that I have um, will fit. I have a pattern that'll fit just about anything. It might not be made specifically for that gun, but with leather, that's the better thing about leather to me over Kydex is fit. Is you don't always have to have a holster, a specific holster for every specific gun. Leather's more forgiving. It'll stretch out a bit and sort of more mold to your specific gun, as long as it's not wet molded and hardened and everything. I don't do that anyway. One, I don't think it's necessary, and two, I make mostly revolver holsters. That's usually what people order from me, like old west type stuff. I don't even like that usage. It's not really Western. It's 19th century, 1800s. Everything, it's like everything from that period is called Western, even if it has nothing to do with the West. All right, fellers and ladies, if there's any in here, I don't know. My audience is like 99% men. There usually ain't no women around here on my channels. Well, dang it. Where's my punch? Oh, there it is. All right, guys. Now, I know the camera is going to probably shake like a mofo right now. Just going to have to hang tight through all the shaking. Because I got a tripod on the table. I usually have one on the floor, but it's in my studio for the other channel. I'm about to record a video tonight on the for modern frontiersmen on the sleeper cells who are believed to be here in the United States. People tend to forget that Ohio was once considered Western. Right. I mean, I'm in Alabama. People, yeah, right. I mean, this used to be the frontier, like. Which Alabama just had a birthday recently. December 13th, 14th, something like that. I don't remember. 1819 or something like that. I think Alabama became a state, early 1800s. But anyway, we're about to punch these holes. It's about to get loud and the camera's about to shake. Man, something's wrong with it ain't punching right. don't know why it's not punching all the way through right now. Almost. I'll probably push it the rest of the way through with a needle when I get back to the when I get to stitching it. I think I need a new punch. Probably the ends are probably dulled on it. Shaking like crazy. I warned you. Told you it's going to get loud and shaky. Almost there. Alright, got all the holes punched. Whew. Getting hot now. Hair probably looks crazy. Whatever. Alright, let's stitch this puppy up. Now I can actually see the chat. Who all's two of y'all? Sometimes that's wrong. Who all's still here? Ever got, once again, I got anybody from Modern Frontiersman up in here? It's a good thing my kids ain't here right now. They're gone. That would be waking them up for sure. All by my lonesome here. Oh, cool. Since Risky. Okay, so you're here from Modern Frontiersman then, right? I just checked on him recently the other day. Hadn't talked to him in a long time. Jeez, this one don't want to go through. What the heck is happening? Yeah, it is about like woodworking. It's I love any traditional crafts. And I'll watch some channels like I'm doing right now who, don't even talk, just watching the work. Sitting here doing leather work, usually it really is calming. It's therapeutic, makes me feel centered, especially when I can get into that flow state. Um, when I can get into that flow state and I'm not even thinking, I'm just acting, just doing the leather work and not thinking about a single thing, not even thinking about what I'm doing. Usually the work turns out better when I'm not thinking about it, and time seems to stand still, and you feel really centered and on your purpose. And one of the reasons I encourage people to get into some sort of craft, because it's really good for that. Hey DJ, glad to see you here. Whew. I feel that fire heating up. It's starting to get warm in here now. I might have to lose this jacket here in a minute. Thank you, sir. Don't get a whole lot of people over here from Modern Frontiersman. A lot of those people, as we've talked about before, if it ain't about if it ain't about guns and gear and tactical shit, they don't care about it. People be tarded. Guys, if you're new here, and especially if you're not subscribed to Modern Frontiersman, I'm not politically correct. I will say things that are in modern times deemed as offensive and whatever. I don't care. I get told all the time, Josh, it's not 2005 anymore. You can't say that. Like that. I do what I want. You damn right it's not 2005 anymore. Reenactment gear and Old West gear is my go-to. That's cool, man. tie this up in there, because most people in the preparedness community don't understand that the gun stuff is like 1% of it. Absolutely. That's what I've been screaming forever. Oh, even in the military, you know, it's like, even if you're a rifleman, like, people will be like, well, oh, you're a shooter, you're the gun guy in the group. Well, then who's doing all the other stuff? You, the gun guy. It's like when you're in the infantry. Like when you're in the infantry, who do you think's doing your laundry and doing maintenance on your gear and everything else? You. Nobody else. You. When you're a rifleman, everything is your job. Who's stacking sandbags? You are. Who's filling them? You are. Who's digging holes? You are. KBR for $200 a load of laundry. Yeah. Yeah, we had to do all that ourselves. Oh, it's stitched. Boom. It's so pretty. I like, if I use a dark color leather or a dark color dye, I use a light color thread. If I use a light color, you know, leather, I'll use a dark color thread. Contrast, give it some more character. Character. Okay, now the last thing we have to do is, the edges are still rough. Sometimes on these holsters, I just leave the edges rough because, like I said, this is the working man holster, so it really doesn't matter. On this one, I'm going to go ahead and finish the edges for demonstration purposes. And even if I don't completely finish the edges, what I will at least do is I will make sure to trim the edges down flush, at least. Sometimes I won't do more than that. And to be honest, sometimes I will intentionally, like if somebody orders this, I might make it this way and leave the edges raw. The next person that orders it, I might just burnish the edges and make them look burnt, you know. The next order, I might actually go full-fledged and coat the edges. Why, Josh? That's inconsistent. Because I want to try in some way to make each one, or every other one, every 3 or 4, a little bit different. So when each person has it, you know, if they were to meet one day, which they won't, if they were, you would be like, oh, look at mine, look at yours looks different than mine, but it's the same product. I just try to make it unique for each person. Rough cut, like lumber, is the way to go, dude. Right? Yeah. Some people like the edges left raw like that, and I leave, when I make stuff for myself, I typically leave the edges raw. I might actually just dye them, but a lot of times I'll just leave it rough cut like that and be done with it. As long as it holds the gun and it doesn't fall apart, that's what counts. Everything else in leatherwork is cosmetic. So the thing is, like, it's easy to make something. It's not so as easy to make something look nice, right? I think anybody could do basic leatherwork. You know, if you don't have no dye, you don't have no edge coat, nothing. All you need is leather, a box cutter like I use, a needle and thread, and a punch to punch your holes. And you're good. You really don't. None of the rest of the stuff is necessary. You could just leave your stuff. I mean, you could leave your stuff just, you know, natural like this, just natural veg tan, and over time it'll darken, pick up a patina. And sometimes you get leather in that already has it. It's already darkened because of oil and stuff that's on it. Kind of like doing the burnt stripe on old stops. 2 of the same. Yeah. All right, we're going to bevel this edge. And after I'm done with this, I will be probably starting to record my video for Modern Frontiersman on these supposed sleeper cells in the United States. Digging deep on that one because a lot of nuanced stuff that nobody thinks about, nobody talks about, because fear sells. But there's a lot of maybes, ifs, excepts, a lot that goes into that won't get covered. And people got to understand one thing too, that things are blown out of proportion on YouTube because fear sells and people get views. Um, and sometimes people get mad at me when I just get on videos and tell the truth because it doesn't confirm what they already believed. That's never my goal. My goal is always to just tell the truth to the best of my ability. Even if it makes me, I get othered quite often. You know, I'm not like this group or I'm not like that group. Well, good. Most people suck anyway. I like the edges burnished. Can't decide if I like uh, token oil versus gum trag versus saddle. Well, it moved. Water each has its own look. I've been using gum trag black. Yeah, I use gum trag sometimes, but I typically will just use water because I don't have to buy it and I don't run out of it. uh, brain tanning. No, yeah, that's not a myth. No, I have brain tanned deer hides before. Yes, um, I've brain tanned quite a few. I've brain tanned several beaver. I've brain tanned coyote, deer. I've brain tanned squirrel. That is not a myth. And every animal, it's amazing. Every animal has enough brains in its skull to tan its own hide. It is totally real, not a myth. That is how hides were tanned before chemical tanning became a thing. All the mountain men in the 1800s, their predecessors, the long hunters and frontiersmen of the 1700s, back to the French and Indian War, Native Americans, pretty much everybody in the world at that time was brain tanning, or you can also like say veg tan, like with when it comes to cowhide with uh, acorns, leaves, and it you soak it in water with all those things combined, those natural materials. It pulls the tannins, the chemical out of those things, and it soaks it into the leather, and that's what tans the hide. With brain tanning, yeah, you mush up the brains in water, then you rub it into the hide. But that's usually more like deer hides, and things you want softer hides like that. Okay, edges are burnished. And you know what? I've said this before, long time ago. I haven't talked about it in a long time, but man, these type of skills are perfect, like SHTF skills too. If you're into prepping and stuff, as I am, which it appears most of you are here from Modern Frontiersman now. But uh, it's skills that not a lot of people have. Not a lot of people know how to tan hides. And, in a disaster situation, or if we're thrust back into an 1800s existence, all those skills that have gone on the back burner will all come to the front again. And the beautiful thing, like about leather work, if you think about it, I wrote an article on this. Head over to modernfrontiersman.com. It's one of my first articles I ever wrote on the website, on the Frontiersman blog. Is that humans would likely not exist today if it were not for leather. It really is a survival skill. Making clothing that'll keep you warm from hides and stuff, that's how people have survived. And then you go further into history, and sandals and knife sheaths, holsters, slings. Now a lot of leather work is seen as just luxury items and stuff, which I do make luxury items as well. I do have another brand called Jasmarie. It is a fine leather luxury brand. But here, Fortner's Frontier Leather is where my heart is, for making the useful stuff for people to actually use. What did you say, DJ? Did you say something about reindeer pelts? Need me some? Yeah, Tandy has them. You can order them from Tandy Leather. I was looking at some the other day when I drove down to Birmingham to get some. Yeah, walnuts can be used. Yeah. All right, got that edge dyed up, coated. All right, I'll let that dry for just a moment. And now we're done with the dauber. Now that all the edges are done. Ugh. About stuck my finger down in there. I hate getting edge coated on me because it's a pain to get off. I usually don't even wash the dye off my hands. You have to scrub the crap out of it. I just let it wear off. People are like, "Yeah, what's that on your hands?" I'm a leather worker. Go fuck yourself. I am winter. Alright, fellas. We're going to let that dry for un momento, por favor. And then we will come back to it in just a moment. And we will fold that skirt back over, and it'll be finished. It'll be fully assembled, and you'll see the finished product. If you are new here, head over to Modern Frontiersman, to that channel. Hit subscribe, and you will see my video that is coming out on the sleeper cells believed to be in America. If you want leather work, if you want some training material, some merch, I got some a 7-day grid down challenge. I just posted a Minuteman Bootcamp program. You can get all that stuff and join all that stuff at modernfrontiersman.com. Also, there's the Frontiersman blog where you can read my blog posts. It's all right there on the website. And I'm actually creating a new page on the website. It'll be called It's called Elite. It's there right now. It's just not populated. If you go to the website, you will see the Elite tab, and it's coming soon. But that will be a members section where there will be like a chat room in there where people, and it's not for people to just go in there and bullshit. I don't like those kind of things because it's not useful. That's not what it's for. It's for people to seek advice, training advice, hold each other accountable, useful things, not a what'd you have for breakfast, kind of place. Cool. I'm glad you liked the blog. What I'm planning on doing, if you've ever been on my Substack, you may notice that all the articles that are on Substack are not on the website, and I'm gonna fix that. I'm gonna go to Substack over time here soon, probably this week while my kids are at their mom's, and I will basically copy and paste all the articles from Substack and put them into the blog on the website. That won't take me too long. I just basically, like I said, just copy and paste it, and I'm going to upload them all into the website. I need to start doing that, not just uploading stuff into Substack, but also copy that into the website every single time and upload an article there. Sometimes I just don't think about it. And yeah, guys, by the way, I haven't said this on Modern Frontiersman, but I'm going to when I'm planning, because I'm planning to do a video after this one on sleeper cells. I'm planning to do a video on personal SHTF, and how you could go through your own, issues that is SHTF for you. And a recent one for me, like I said, this is you're seeing it here first time. We're like an hour in, so people who are rewatching this probably won't even make it here yet. They won't know about this until I do the video over there. But just a few weeks ago, everything was finalized, but I recently got divorced. So that's been, an adjustment with the kids and with my work, with everything. So yeah. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit when I talk about personal, SHTF. Things happen that could change your life, just because of someone's behavior, just because of one person's decisions. I could flip your shit upside down real quick, and that's something to be prepared for. Those little things as well. That's not a little thing, but compared to like a freaking World War III thing, that's not big, but it's major for individuals' lives. Fortunately, it went well for me. Everything went in my favor for the most part, but it's still an adjustment period. Like I said, with the kids and how to deal with everything. So I'll be talking about that a little bit more, and more into mindset and all that in the video I'm planning on personal SHTF. But the truth is, if I had not already been so serious about mindset and building mental strength before that happened, I could be in a lot worse place right now, right? I'm good, but I could not be, if I just was in the mental place that a lot of people are beforehand. So there's a lot to be said about mindset and mental resilience, because that shit crushes people sometimes. Something like that, like a divorce, can, I've seen it really just destroy people and take people down. I have a friend right now who's going through it as well, and he's not taking it near as well as I have, because he was not in that place, right? He was not. He basically, I think, was believed that nothing in his life would ever change, that everything will just stay as it is, and change is certain. It's the only thing that's certain, and you have to You have to be able to understand that, that other people's decisions, outside events, all the things we don't have control of, uh, they all can happen and they all will happen at some point. So it's better to. I tend to do. I can't remember the Latin, the old the Latin words, but the old Stoic practice of basically imagining bad things before they happen, so when they actually happen, they don't affect you as much because you've already went through the emotions. Most people aren't. I think most people aren't capable of that. A lot of times, people they don't even want to think about, uh, you know, possible terrible things that could happen to them. But in the end, when the things do happen, they're crushed and say, I thought this would never happen. Well, you didn't want to think about it beforehand. I've seen that happen to people where I tried to talk to them about things. Hey, what if this happens? How will you take that? What will you do? Well, I don't even want to talk about. I don't want to think about that. And then when it happens, they're falling apart. But back to how that comes back to the leather work, having some sort of craft like this to take all that energy and put all that into, instead of rumination and sitting and being all down and out, it goes a long way. So all is well. Been down that road myself after I came home from my second deployment. Ooh, yeah. Seen that happen to a lot of Marines when we got back from Iraq. So many people ended up. So many people ended up divorced and stuff. Myself, and that's what got me into leather working. Yeah, so, yeah. Two things have kept me centered, other than my children, but two activities, two passions of mine that have always helped me and kept me centered is music. I love making music, whether that's I like playing bluegrass with guitar and mandolin and stuff, but I also produce hip hop beats and stuff like that because I grew up playing drums since I was like 5 years old. So making those rap beats came like it was nothing for me. Um, but music of all sorts, making music and doing my leather work is two things in my life that I can always return back to if I feel off balance, and it will recenter me and remind me of what's valuable to me and get me back on my purpose. I really didn't want to even. I didn't even, to be honest, I didn't even feel like making this holster tonight. I didn't feel like finishing it. I didn't feel like sitting here turning the camera on. But if you just do it anyway, no matter how you feel, man, you'll quickly come out of that state. Yeah, exactly. Got to keep doing the mentally and creatively engaging things. Yeah, even when you don't feel like it. Like I just said, like just having. That's the thing that I hate about. I'm sorry, usually I talk about these things on Modern Frontiersman because I talk about mindset and preparedness so much, but this applies to the leather work, right? There is crossover between these channels. And there's preparedness content on this channel from since before Modern Frontiersman ever existed. I started doing preparedness content here. I just stopped during the Rona, so they didn't shut my business channel down here. But damn it, I forgot where I was going with that. But yeah, motivation. That's the thing. Just keep doing the things because motivation is trash. Like you're not, people are not going to be motivated all the time. Discipline is far more important than motivation. And I've dropped the ball many times. I've gotten behind on orders here. I'm behind right now, right? Because of all that kind of thing, and that's on me. That's my fault. Sometimes it's been because of shortages on things and stuff, but sometimes I've gotten behind just because of I just got into a state that's not normal for me. I try to keep myself very. I always return back to center though. Like you'll waver. It's like you never stay perfectly centered. There's ups and there's downs and there's ups and there's downs. The trick is making sure that there's not too that the wave doesn't spike too high or too low. And too high is just as bad as too low sometimes, because when people get too high and they get too high on life, when they come back down to their baseline, it feels like they've dropped below it, right? So I try to keep myself from getting too excited and too down. Make sure there's just those little waves and it doesn't spike. And due to a lot of things, life events and things changing over the past couple years, I've had some of those. I've had quite a few of those spikes, and sometimes it's hard to get yourself back to back to the baseline. All right. So now, what? Some freaking notifications from some nonsense, Facebook nonsense. I don't know how they ever can look at Facebook. The edges are dry. So now what we do, for those who are not familiar with Mexican loop holsters, the way they came into existence was, the old military holsters, like the cavalry holsters, had a flap over top like this, right? So you'd have your barrel sticking out here. Hey, well, no, I better not do that. I was about to put one in it, but this is a live stream. So it would fold over like this, to hold your gun in. So people ended up folding those back and cutting one slot or two slots, or if you want two straps going across the front, a double Mexican loop holster, you can do two. But with this one, I have a kind of a unique design. I put just the one, and then you fold, instead of it folding over, it folds back and you tuck it into that loop. So the reason they did this was because with the invention of cartridge belts, because before with the black powder pistols, the belts were somewhat thinner and they didn't need a very wide belt loop. So you fold this back and now you have this very wide belt loop that can fit over cartridges, and a wider, like some 2.5, 3 inch. Some belts, some cartridge belts were even like 5 inches wide, which I think is ridiculous. I make mine 2 inches because that's big enough, and then it fits your pistol cartridge in the center. But yeah, some were like 5 inches wide. I don't make them that big because it's completely unnecessary, unless somebody were to ask for it, which no one ever has. My 2-inch wide belts have been sufficient for everyone I've ever made them for. Hunting, fishing, leatherworking, and my family, my boys, kept me from the road. Especially this last year, finding out my 5-year-old daughter having a brain tumor. Oh, I hate that, man. Hate to hear that. I hope everything goes well for you, and I'll country live in history. Keep you in prayers, man. So this is the finished product. This is the working man holster. So I just put this one loop. Basically, all you got to do is cut one slot. So what a lot of people will do, instead of, you cut 2 slots, and then you have this strip over the front, and then you'll have a strip over the back. This one has no strip across the back at the bottom. It's just one little slot, and you just tuck it in. That simple. You have basically a Mexican loop holster. It's another thing that people don't know too, is like a lot of that cowboy or like Western stuff actually came from the Spanish cowboys that were doing it big down in Mexico and out west before Americans and colonists ever made it out there. So a lot of that old Western stuff is Spanish in origin. They're still doing it big down there in Mexico and South America and Brazil. They're producing a lot of beef, a lot of still good old cowboy action down there. But there it is. That is the Working Man holster. Once again, there is a link to this holster in the description if you want this holster. Or anything else I have over there. There's a full rig for this too. Comes with a 2-inch wide belt with a. We have solid brass buckles that go on the belt with it, and you can order the whole rig or just the holster or anything else you see over there. The books I've written, whatever, modernfrontiersman.com. But like I said, the link to this holster alone is in the description if you'd like one, and it'll fit Ruger Vaquero. I mean, any single action revolver will fit in here. Even like black powder ones, like the the Griswold remakes and the Colt single action army, the pretty much anything, pretty much any single action revolver will fit in this. And this is actually made for like a 6.5 to 7-inch barrel, but obviously if the barrel's shorter than that, it's still going to fit. It's just it's just going to be up here a little higher. So, but thanks for joining me, guys. We're going on, and I usually try to cut these off at about an hour. We're a little over. It's okay, don't matter. But it's done, and I'm about to get it put in the mail for the customer. And one thing I put in them too is I put a letter to each customer, and I have some new decals that I'll stick in there too. It's got the logo with the website at the bottom, the Modern Frontiersman logo. So those have been going in every package, and so I'll put that, and then I'll make actually real quick while we're sitting here, before we go, I'm gonna finish one more part of this package. I send a free keychain with every order because I want to give people as much value as possible, and this is very simple. Watch how fast I make one of these. Okay, we cut that out, cut off the corners sort of around them, cut this at about 8 inches, same thing, flatten that out, cut the corners off. We have an 8-inch strip. Take my hole punch, punch a hole at the bottom, flip this over, fold that over, punch a hole through both sides, I got 2 holes on one end, 1, 2, and 3, one there. I'll grab a rivet. Oh, not that rivet. That one's too big. Not giant rivets, little rivets. So fold that over in here. Fold that down over top. Put a rivet, a brass rivet through it. I use solid brass rivets. I use solid brass, all hardware, solid brass. Because it don't rust. Don't get that plated stuff. It rusts. Solid brass is more expensive, but it don't rust. And there we have it. We have a key fob that goes in every order. And this will fit up to a 2-inch wide belt as well. So if somebody wanted to, even if they got one of those belts, they could put one on here too. Yeah, it don't match, but whatever. This is some chrome tanned leather. This is a very oily leather. So I like to make these kind of things out of really oily leather, things that are going to be on people's belts and stuff all the time. That way, it'll resist sweat and things like that. People working in maintenance, people working outside, the sweat won't, destroy this leather. So that's why I make these and stuff like that out of this leather. But yeah, so with every order, you get the item that you ordered, you get a free keychain, you get a free decal, and you get a letter from me signed. So I try to give people as much value in every package as I can. That's all. Just to show appreciation. Thanks, guys, for joining me. I hope y'all have a good night. I'm about to go record this video for Modern Frontiersman now, and I cut my finger. That's fantastic. And as always, stay tuned, because you never know when I'm going to go live on this channel and show the process of something that I'm making. But as always, y'all have a good night and stay self-reliant.